You only lose your games of Warhammer for 4 reasons. Now stay with me and you're going to level up your 40k game today. Guys, I'm a doctor of chiropractic, I'm an MMA fighter, I'm a top 100 player in the world, and I'm coaching players all over the globe to the tops of the country's rankings. Just think of me as Doc Crump and stay with me on a journey because I'm going to take you through the only 4 reasons anyone ever loses a game of Warhammer 40k. A top thing that I do with clients is teach them how to review their individual games, and that's a game changer in their abilities to level up their skills. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. So take some notes because this one is freaking gold. All right, here we go. The ultimate hierarchy of loss. There's only 4 of them, and I'm going to go through them in descending tiers. So the very first one is going to be the most common reason that people actually lose games, when the number 4 reason being the least common reason that people will lose games. The 4 are your own mistakes, your opponent's outplaying you, list design fails, and dice. I'm going to go into detail, and you guys are going to seriously get some value out of this one. Okay, so number 1, you messed up. Now, when I say that this is the most common reason that anyone loses a game of Warhammer 40,000, I'm not saying that this is like 40%. No, we're talking like 80% of all the games that you lose is going to be your fault. Like, you do something wrong, which is going to put you in a bad position where now you have to rely on good dice, or you have to rely on your opponent making a mistake in order for you to catch up. That is not a great way to play Warhammer. Now, one of the things that I've noticed is that most people have a really hard time identifying where they make a critical error. Let me give you a really good example of a time where I made a critical error, which completely lost a game for me that other people might have thought was due to dice. So, I'm playing at the end of a tournament. We're in the finals of a major. This was at the beginning of 10th edition. I'm playing the Orcs, and I'm playing against Space Marines. If you guys remember beginning of 10th edition, where Fire Discipline gave everyone crits on 5s with the aggressors, so they had both lethals and sustained hits on 5s, blah, 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 all that nonsense. Well, it's the end of the game. My opponent has 1 Rep X left alive, and he's got his unit of 6 aggressors with his Apothecary Biologus, and he's already used Overwatch. Now, I've got 2 units of 10 knobs each. These are like your Power Claw orc models, if you're not familiar with orcs, and they both have a 3-inch charge into the aggressors. In addition to that, I have a squad of Beast Snaggers that have a 6-inch charge into a Repulsor Executioner. Now, the very first charge I rolled was the Beast Snaggers into the Repulsor Executioner, and I failed the charge. I rolled like a 3. So I spent a CP to reroll it, made the charge, ended up destroying the Rep X. Bully for me. Now, the win condition for this game was that I killed these aggressors. So I take my first unit of 10 knobs, and I roll Snake Eyes. It was a 3-inch charge. And then I say, no big deal. I've got a second squad of knobs that I can charge in. I'll be totally fine. Snake Eyes again, and I lose the freaking game. All I had to do was make that charge into the aggressors, and the game was basically over. Now, after that game, there were people watching. They were saying, oh, bro, you got diced. I didn't get diced, man. What I did is I made a very poor decision. What I should have done is killing the Rep X was nice, but that wasn't critical to winning the game. Charging and destroying the aggressors was critical to winning the game. So what I should have done is I should have rolled the charge for the knobs into the aggressors. When I failed that, spent my CP to re-roll that charge, and then I should have had that third opportunity to roll that charge with the second squad of knobs. Because of the order that I chose to make my charges in, that is why I lost the game. It's not because I rolled dice. Even though, objectively, I rolled pretty bad dice. The dice didn't lose me the game. It was my decision. So before you blame anything else, what I need you guys to start doing is reviewing your own decisions first. Because as you can identify these decisions, then you will become a much better player. All right. Number 2 reason why you lose the game. Your opponent outplays you. Sometimes your opponent was just freaking better, right? Or they just saw something that you never would have seen on your own, and they were just able to grab that freaking win. This happens. Sometimes we play people who are just more skilled than us, and they see things that we don't see. Now, this is generally not the reason we lose. Typically, what happens is we make a mistake, and our opponent is good enough to capitalize upon it. But occasionally, your opponent's just going to do something great that you never saw coming, and because of that, boom. So now you're punished, and now you lose the game. There is really no shame in this. This is actually just one of the ways that we get better. The very first time that you see your opponent who's got a blood surging unit and you think you're being clever and you move your transport to be the closest model to the enemy unit so that when you shoot them, they have to blood surge into the transport. Well, what they do is they kill their models that were closer to the transport away so that then they're able to blood surge into a model that is now a new closer one that you didn't want them to blood surge into. This is like an example of skill expression. This is something that if you've never seen it, then you've never seen it. You're probably going to get caught by it. This is just a good thing that your opponent can do in order to win the game. It totally happens, and it's not always because they're a better player, but they just did something great. Lose with honor, guys. Study the decision that they made that made you lose the game. Totally fine. No problems. All right. Now, the number 3 reason. Now, this one's rare. This one is actually much rarer than people like to think and like to admit, but it does happen, is when your list simply couldn't handle your opponent's army. Now, if you're playing against Necrons and they have that big 20-man blob of warriors and you just have no way to ever get through it, sometimes you could just be screwed. I accept that, and it's not a good feeling. But if you are finding yourself into this position where you have an army that just can't beat the enemy army simply because of a list matchup, remember, quite rare, but possible, you have a decision to make. And that decision is to either say, okay, this is a niche matchup where perhaps I'm only going to run into this matchup 1 out of every 10 tournaments. You might just say, screw it, I'll lose this matchup. It's okay, because it's not worth changing my game plan just for this one matchup. That is a very honest and real option. Sometimes that's the correct option. You say, hey, you know what? This is a very niche scenario. If I run into this scenario, I'll probably lose. It's okay with me. But if you're, let's say it's like your army sucks into defilers, and we know that the defilers are all over the meta right now, that would be a bad decision not to make your list able to handle defilers, right? Like, so if you have a list that is not able to win just simply because of the list itself, you got to get a new freaking list. And if you choose not to make the list change, that is a decision, leading us back to reason number 1 why we lose the most, which is list decisions. Okay, cool. And then finally, after this, after we do this, we get to the last reason, and this is dice. Occasionally, we lose games due to dice. This is very rare, exceedingly rare. Most people I hear say, oh, I got diced, but they didn't. What they did is they made bad decisions that they were not able to reflect on, and they passed the buck off to dice because it's easier to say the dice are why I lost than my own decisions. I implore you, if you think that dice are the reason that you lost, you're almost always going to be wrong. I have maybe 5 games that I have ever played that I have lost due to dice. It is true that occasionally you're just not allowed to win Warhammer, but it is so much rarer than people say. And I know, oh, you've never seen my dice, Jonathan. Bro, I've seen your dice. I've had your dice. Every single person understands the concept of the dice trying to kill them. Everyone understands this. I have had a game where I've won due to dice. I have had games that I've lost due to dice, but they are very, very rare. I implore you, if you think you lost a dice, look at the pictures and the video of your game and go over the decisions that you could have made to make the dice a non-factor. If you lose because you failed a 5-inch rerollable charge, could you have moved in such a way that would have made it a 4-inch rerollable charge? If you could have, then that is a decision that you made that was wrong, not dice. If I roll a 4 into a 4 and I needed the 5, but I could have made it a 4-inch charge had I moved a little bit more intelligently, that's not dice screwing you. That's your own decision. If you can take this and you can take accountability for your decisions, and then you can become better at reviewing your game, trust me, you will improve so dramatically. And the best way I can give you guys to do this on your own is make sure every time you play, take 10 pictures. This is one of the stronger tools that I use with my clients. I have people take 10 pictures at the start of every single turn and walk through what happened. And walk through what happened right after your game. If you're just playing a one-off game, do it right after. If you're playing a tournament, do it after the tournament is over, on the drive home or something like that, and try to identify where you messed up. This is where we level up and we don't make those same mistakes again. If you do this, you will become a better freaking player. So guys, here's the framework. Before you blame anything else, you always check this list. Your mistakes. What decisions could you have made that would have influenced the game better? Could you have positioned your scouting unit where they could have scouted behind cover if you went second, meaning that you didn't lose them. Check where were you outplayed? What did your opponent do that you just couldn't counter? And then ask yourself, could you have countered it? Was it really your opponent outplayed you, or you just made a mistake that your opponent was able to capitalize on? You see how this is going. And then number 3 reason why we lose is that list design. And then you ask yourself the question, is it just a list that you have to accept because you can't afford to make a better list into that matchup because it would screw you into other matchups? Because once again, that's a decision you make, isn't it? And then lastly is the dice. Everyone's been there. You have played a basically perfect game. You need that 3-inch charge. You roll snake eyes into snake eyes. That's the game. You shake hands and you go get a beer. But that is so, so rare. And even when you do get to that position, like the story I told you guys, most of the time there was a decision that you could have made that would have influenced it better. So guys, this is the 4 reasons why you lose 40K. And people are going to say that there's others. There's others like, oh, there's external factors like I couldn't concentrate because people were talking by the table. But guess what? You made a bad decision to not turn to those people and ask them politely to please walk to another table because you couldn't concentrate. That was the decision that you made, and you made it poorly. So these are the 4 reasons. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And guys, I just want to give a quick mention that prices for coaching is going up soon. So make sure you go get your coaching services. In about 3 weeks, we're having a price increase. I will honor anything that is purchased now. And until next time, crump on. Bye-bye.